Hyperpigmentation is one of the hardest skin conditions to treat, and the truth is, most common interventions out there and solutions make it worse. In the long term, that is. The most common one is hydroquinone, which is a bleach. I literally think of it as Clorox. It can bleach that surface, so you're tricked into seeing that there's some improvement, but you can get that rebound hyperpigmentation way later, and now it's so much more persistent and harder to treat. And then you have chemical peels, which strip your lipid barrier, leaving your skin so much more vulnerable to sun damage, which can lead to new pigmentation. And I've seen side effects of lasers, which often leave post-inflammatory spots. So if you've tried everything and your pigmentation keeps coming back, this video is for you. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Nadia, your guide to better skin naturally. After nearly 3 decades in the beauty industry and interfacing with thousands of women who were stuck in the cycle of fading dark spots only to see them come back. But today I will show you how to finally break that cycle. And that's by addressing pigmentation at every layer, topically and internally. But what I'll need is your commitment to stop chasing quick fixes and committing to the process. But first, let's understand hyperpigmentation. Pigmentation is literally your skin's survival mechanism. When UV rays, heat, inflammation threaten your cells, your melanocytes, and those are the factories where melanin is made, the color in the skin, create more melanin to protect your DNA. The problem comes when your melanocytes are overstimulated. They don't just overproduce melanin, but they distribute it unevenly throughout your skin. And that's when you see those clusters of color, which are dark spots. Here's the catch. Pigmentation forms very deep in the basal layers, and it takes weeks for it to come up to the surface. So by the time you notice it, the process has already been taking place for months. And that is exactly why surface level treatments like scrubs, peels, and so on do not render long-lasting results. We should also keep in mind that pigment is not only caused by a single factor. Of course, we have UV and infrared exposure, which stimulates the overproduction of melanin. And then you have inflammation from aggressive treatments, acne, eczema, and so on. Hormonal shifts, those trigger melasma, so it's a very specific type of pigmentation. And then oxidative stress, which depletes the nutrients, especially antioxidants that defend our bodies in the first place from that oxidation that leads to discoloration. So unless you address all the triggers, that pigment will continue to come back. Now, let's cover the ingredients that actually work. And before I go into any of these ingredients, I'm gonna have to start with tinted zinc sunscreen. If you're not using that, any of the products that I'm going to recommend are not going to work effectively because you're not protecting the skin. You have to effectively protect that surface layer from further discoloration, further overstimulation of melanocytes to allow all of the ingredients that I'm going to cover to work. I made it my mission to curate the least irritating yet most effective and clean formulations on my website, thebeautydoctrine.com. So everything I'm going to cover, you'll be able to find over there. So get pen and paper or save this video so you can use it as a reference to your detailed prescription for pigmentation. The first ingredient we want in the routine is tranexamic acid. It calms those overactive melanocytes by blocking plasmin, a protein that stimulates melanin production. I've been vetting and curating products now for 4 years and was not able to find a clean formula with tranexamic acid until about just a month ago. And so now it is on thebeautydoctrine.com. A little bit later in the video, I will show you how to use it correctly. The product is Omic 10% tranexamic acid. The next ingredient we're going to need is a stable form of vitamin C, and by stable I mean not L-ascorbic acid, which is ubiquitous. That's what most skincare brands use. We do not want that. It's sensitizing and it's highly unstable, degrading very quickly in the body. Vitamin C is so essential in our routine because it's going to block that tyrosinase, which is the very enzyme responsible for melanin production. It also works to repair UV damage and of course collagen production. So you must have a high quality, stable vitamin C in your routine. So I grabbed all of the ones that I have on the beautydoctrine.com so you can select the one that's right for you. I'll start with the ones that I have open. So those are the ones I use myself. First one is actually pure vitamin C. So this is Agent Nature Holy C. It's a pure powder. So what you do is just take your toner. So if you're using any mist, right now I'm using Tyla mist. So I would take that, just do a few pumps in the palm of my hand, put a little bit of the powder in there, and then mix it up, and you activate it on site right before application. You apply that on your face. The rest are all going to be oil-based vitamin C products, so they're going to penetrate into the skin very easily without sensitizing the skin like L-ascorbic acid. So I'm currently using these, which have been helping dramatically with the pigmentation I've developed over summer, and I've spent so much time in the sun this summer. So tonic, so you have tonic C radiance and Carigran vitamin C. I personally love using products in a rotation so I can get the benefits of both, but you don't have to, just pick one. I would say Carigran is more leaning towards dry skin types. C Radiance from Tonic is very lightweight, so anyone can use it, and so is Botanical C. This actually, I've had a lot of really good feedback from it. It uses vitamin C ester, which is a very potent form of vitamin C, but in an oil formula that keeps the skin from being sensitized. So again, I love a rotation. When I finish those two, I never have more than two open, but when I finish those two, I will open up One Love Organics, and that's how I recommend this to my clients. There are very few products that are skin type specific, like your moisturizers or certain oils. For vitamin C, especially with these formulas, you cannot go wrong no matter what your skin type is. If you're a fan of ultra light formulations, this one, it's Royal Tulip Vitamin C facial oil. Even though it says facial oil, it feels like a water-based serum. It's so lightweight, and it has additional enzymes and niacinamide, which we'll get into next. The next ingredient we're gonna need is niacinamide, and that stops the transfer of pigment from cell to cell, preventing that pigmentation from spreading, so it contains it. They don't disclose the percentages, but it's nice to have. But if we have pigmentation that we truly want to address, let's go with a 15% niacinamide, which can be aggressive for sensitive skin types. So the way that I like to use it is on the spots only. So I recommend the tonic one, niacinamide 15% with peptides. I personally use this on the areas where I get pigment. My freckles get really dark and they spread over summer. So I have them on both sides of my cheeks. So I just take a drop of this and apply right on the spot. That way I avoid irritation because I'm ultra sensitive. However, there are other formulas, you can also find them on my website, where from the same brand, you'll have a 5% niacinamide and also a 3% niacinamide for ultra sensitive skin. So either of those formulas I use generously all over the face, no issue. But if, again, I was to go with the highest concentration, I spot treat with it only. Speaking of sensitive skin, azelaic acid is a good option for those that are sensitive, that are highly inflamed, if you have rosacea, if you have acne. So azelaic acid is an ingredient that helps reduce melanin. It's not as powerful as niacinamide and retinoids and everything else that we've covered, but it's a very good option for those that are sensitive and also those that have acne and inflammation. The next class of ingredients we're going to need are retinoids or retinols, but I do not recommend prescription ones because they are too aggressive. And vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin. They're just too irritating, causing lots of inflammation that you now will have to deal with. And vitamin A is also fat-soluble, which means it can cause cellular toxicity. We don't want that. We want to use it in moderation, in lower doses that the skin can tolerate without all the peeling and aggravation. So the way that retinoids work, they increase that cellular turnover, pushing that pigment to the surface of the skin, allowing for that resurfacing. And of course, we know that it also helps with collagen production. Good alternatives to those prescription retinoids that still work really well without the peeling and the irritation. You have Tonic Noir. This is the one I'm using right now. And then you have Bloom Effects Black Tulip, overnight retinoid serum. I truly don't have a preference. They're both equally great, and they both have gentle but more advanced technologies that allow that penetration of the vitamin A into the skin without causing irritation. And I've used both consistently, and I'm as sensitive as they come, and I have not seen irritation. I generally use a retinoid every 2 or 3 days. But you can totally build up to using it every day. I just really don't care to do that every single night, but you can if your skin tolerates it. And the last class of ingredients that we're gonna need are some type of topical exfoliants that help lift that pigment off the surface. So those are your PHAs, AHAs, enzymes. I'm gonna show you some options, but you're gonna need only one. I know that everybody's obsessed with exfoliating, thinking that that exfoliation will get you to your results faster. So not true. Exfoliation will get you to inflammation, weaken barrier layer faster, not results. I will start with my favorites, which I use also in a rotation, but the rotation takes a long time because it takes a very long time to get through these. I exfoliate about once a week. So for a very long time, I've been using Holy Bright by Agent Nature. It's a lactic acid mask. I leave it on 20 minutes, even 30 minutes. There is no irritation whatsoever. Take it off and the skin is super smooth. So that's my favorite way of exfoliating. Second option for sensitive skin is Plum Talks by Le Prunier. This is mostly enzymatic mask. It's a beautiful texture that's also clarifying, so it works well for sensitive skin as well as those oily skin types or combination, anyone that needs to clarify further and kind of pull out any toxins. Now, if you have solid skin and you want something a bit more aggressive, Earth Harbor makes a couple different products. So there's Luna Rain, which is a serum that can be used overnight. It's got all of your AHAs, enzymes, BHA, you name it. If it exfoliates, it's there. And then you have Glow Juice, also by the same brand. And this is an enzyme mask that also has your alpha hydroxy acids. So this is just a leave on for a few minutes and then you take it off. And again, like I said earlier, we cannot skip sunscreens. I love a tinted zinc sunscreen because the tint protects us from blue light. All of us are exposed to so much blue light now. And then the SPF, the zinc portion of it, will protect us from UVA and UVB, providing that shield on the surface of the skin that will give you a gorgeous glow. I love the glow that my sunscreens have. Today I have Kerry Gran on. I've been using Audacité pretty much all summer, and I'm just now starting to kind of ease this into my routine. I rotate them until I run out. If you're ultra dry, this is definitely your choice. This is my choice for everybody else. And then there is Bloom Effects, which is a serum SPF, very, very lightweight. So those that like a light texture, that's gonna be your best choice. Now let's put that fail-proof routine together. So of course we want to start every single routine with a gentle cleanse and a mist. If you choose to use the powder, vitamin C, you want to mix it into your toner. Next step is either your azelaic acid serum if you're someone that is sensitive, acneic, inflamed, or if you want to target that pigmentation really deeply, you want to go with the niacinamide 15% for pigmentation. Again, that's of course if your skin can handle it. Next, we're going to take a couple pumps of our vitamin C product with 2 drops of the tranexamic acid, mix them up and apply all over the face. Then you finish with your SPF. That's your day routine, extremely simple. Now let's talk night. So after cleansing and misting, and of course if you go with that powdered vitamin C, blend it into your mist, you're gonna go with one of these. So you either repeat the exact same thing you did in the day, which is mixing that vitamin C with your tranexamic acid, or you're going to do the retinol, whichever one you picked, either the retinol or the retinoid. And that's it. So you do these in rotation. So that gets you to using your retinoid about 3 days a week. And then as you move forward, kind of seeing and gauging how your skin is doing, you can use a lot less of this at night and more of this. And then the finishing touch at night, it's going to be your barrier repair serum. These are a lot of actives. We've covered every single active that can potentially treat hyperpigmentation. We need to strengthen that barrier with this formula, which also has a little bit of trans-retinoic acid from the rosehip oil. And then once a week at night, use the exfoliant of choice, and I covered 4 different ones. If you end up selecting the serum exfoliator, which is Luna Rain, just skip all your actives that night and use this and then the barrier repair serum. Save this video so you can follow these steps correctly. Now, here's what no one ever talks about when it comes to hyperpigmentation. It's internal support. We can do so much internally to fade it and also to prevent further pigmentation. Because if we narrowly focus on all those topical serums, yes, we're fading that pigmentation topically. Meanwhile, if we're not managing inflammation and that oxidative stress, the very reason that pigmentation is there in the first place, we're just going to be stuck in that cycle. New spots are just going to keep continuing to form. Your skin is a reflection of your antioxidant reserves, your detox pathways, and your cellular energy. Strengthening these systems doesn't just prevent further damage, it helps your skin repair itself at the deepest level. I'll talk very quickly about diet before I get to my supplement recommendations. So there is such a thing as an anti-pigmentation diet, and that's a diet that's high in beta carotene and lycopene. So for lycopene specifically, that's tomatoes. You find it in a lot of red vegetables and fruits like watermelon, but it's highly concentrated in tomatoes, especially tomato paste. And then you have carotenoids, and those are anything that's orange, so carrots, sweet potatoes, squash. All of those will strengthen your internal defenses against the sun. They're not going to replace your sunscreen, but they're going to help your protection up to about 40%. Keeping in mind that many of those fruits and vegetables are high also in astaxanthin, which is a very powerful antioxidant, vitamin A, so carotenoids, orange veggies, they have vitamin A or provitamin A, which converts into vitamin A within your body, and that helps with cellular repair, with DNA damage, and it's also a very powerful antioxidant that's going to fight the oxidation that often leads to pigmentation. Okay, that was not brief. Let's just get through the supplements real quick here. Maybe I'll just pop them right here just so you can have that visual. Of course, you can find them on my website, thebeautydoctrine.com. So glutathione, that is our master antioxidant. A lot of times people go and get injections of glutathione to fade pigmentation, or they get the IVs. So you can consume glutathione. You can also consume alpha lipoic acid, which is a precursor to your own glutathione. So those are super powerful. I don't believe you need to do both. Pick one. The other two powerful antioxidants, vitamin C, it goes without saying. We absolutely need it. Our skin cannot function, cannot thrive. We can't make collagen, we can't fade pigmentation if we don't have adequate levels of vitamin C. And of course, I recommend vitamin C that is food-based. We don't want L-ascorbic acid, which is the one that's everywhere. And finally, resveratrol. Resveratrol can inhibit those pathways that create hyperpigmentation. It's a super powerful antioxidant, and I do recommend that. So if I was to curate a supplement routine for pigmentation, I would select glutathione, vitamin C, and resveratrol. Once I'm done with glutathione, I'll go to alpha lipoic. I would use those two in rotation. We're not done just yet. To allow these to work, we have to remove those toxic ingredients that cause oxidative damage, that cause inflammation, and can inhibit our progress. What are they? Sugar is at the top of the list. Inflammatory seed oils, those actually, if you consume those, if you have them in your system while you are sunbathing, you are promoting hyperpigmentation, discoloration, and oxidation. So try to get those out of your diet as much as possible. There are many other internal culprits that can hinder our progress, but two that I can't just ignore are alcohol. Alcohol is a toxin that generates an abundance of free radicals within the body, which depletes your glutathione and increases inflammation in the liver. And then you have cigarette smoking, which floods the body with reactive oxygen species. And it depletes your body of the necessary vitamin C, which is very important for your collagen production and even skin tone. Pigmentation is not just a cosmetic issue, it is your skin's way of protecting itself. And when you stop chasing after quick fixes, understand the root causes, address them with targeted topicals, internal support, and lifestyle changes, now you have a solution that's sustained for the long term. You can embrace that radiant, bright, and glass skin. And that's functional beauty, working with your skin, not against it. Until the next video, be well, be safe, be beautiful, take care.